My name is Ralph Ben-Murgy, and I host a podcast called Not That Kind of Rabbi. Basically, what I'm doing is looking for the spirit in people, what animates them to do what they do, and the kinds of stories they can tell. You know, people believe they don't have a story. Oh, no, I don't really have much of a story. And then when you talk to them or ask them questions, you'll find out everybody has a story and that they're all wonderful. I think it's a really good idea for us not to become parochial, not to just think of ourselves, the Jewish people this, the Jewish people that. So many people of different faiths and different inclinations have so much to offer to us as Jews, but also to the world in general. So I tend to look for the spark in people more than I look for the affiliation in them. To support our work at the CJN, go to thecjn.ca/donate. And if you're Canadian, you'll even get a tax receipt.
There is tax? No, I'm just wondering because I know there's supposed to be no tax or something, so...
On some items.
Yes.
That's what it sounded like at the cash register of a Judaica gift and supply store in Toronto on the weekend. It was the first day the store was open since the government's new tax breaks went into effect on December 14th, a program designed to make essentials and holiday items cheaper for Canadians from now until Valentine's Day. Some of the customers who were stocking up for Hanukkah asked whether the store was taking the GST off things like Hanukkah socks or the dreidels, but only kids' socks are eligible, not adults, and the dreidels aren't either. I didn't see any Hanukkah bushes or Hanukkah trees for sale here, even though the tax department says these also qualify for no GST. Nobody's asking you for Hanukkah bushes, right?
Hanukkah bushes, I don't believe so, no. Not yet.
Have you ever sold one?
No, I don't think we have any. Never heard of it.
The tax break for Hanukkah bushes and Hanukkah trees has been one of the more head-scratching parts of the federal government's new temporary tax break. But beneath the surface, we now know the policy was a flashpoint in the Prime Minister's relationship with his loyal finance minister, Chrystia Freeland. She was against it, not the Hanukkah bushes, the whole thing, and it'll cost the government over $1.6 billion in lost revenue, even more in the provinces where they're also scrapping part of the HST. And last Friday, as retailers across the country were grumbling over what was eligible and what wasn't, and they were scrambling to reprogram their cash registers, we now know Trudeau and Freeland had it out. She was demoted, so she quit, and her resignation letter Monday accused the Liberal government of wasting its time on irresponsible political gimmicks. Her bombshell in Ottawa isn't the only fallout from the GST scheme. Many Jewish Canadians reacted with a mixture of surprise, confusion, and bemusement when they discovered, actually, I think the CJN's managing editor was the one who first discovered it, that the government said there's no tax on Hanukkah bushes or on Christmas trees either, real or artificial ones. When Vancouver Bagel Bakery and deli owner Leah Markovitch saw that list, she couldn't believe it.
I'm not happy about it. I'm disappointed that they wouldn't have given just a little more thought to what they were doing. You know, I think one could be aggravated that they focused more on Christmas, but for me, it's just shows ignorance. And I'm sure there's people in Parliament who just think Hanukkah is a Christmas bush thing. I just think it was ignorance.
I'm Ellin Bessner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Thursday, December the 19th, 2024. Welcome to the CJN Daily, a podcast of the Canadian Jewish News and made possible in part thanks to the generous support of the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. I always wanted to work for the CJN, even when it came as a newspaper in our house when I was growing up. It was a celebration. Everything stopped. We read the paper from cover to cover. Hi, I'm Ellin Bessner, and I'm a journalist at the Canadian Jewish News, and I host the CJN Daily podcast. The CJN Daily is a way to showcase Canadian Jewish newsmakers around the world and hearing from the newsmakers themselves. I'm proud to do the work to continue to showcase the ways in which our friends, our neighbors, our rabbis are finding ways to find the beauty in their Jewish identity while upholding the civil rights that Canadian Jews have had since 1832. I'm proud to showcase how our community leaders are leading during these turbulent times, but we also hold them accountable too. We can only continue to tell these important stories with your help. Please visit thecjn.ca/donate to support our work, and you'll get a Canadian tax receipt to boot. Leah Markovitch runs 3 Solly's Bakery and Deli locations in Vancouver. She says customers are happy to now get a bit of a break on their sit-down meals in the restaurant and on boxes of Hanukkah jelly donuts and latkes and all the assorted cookies shaped like dreidels. But her stores also offer a pop-up shop that sell all sorts of Hanukkah items, including some that she considers to be just as important to Jews as Christmas trees are to Christians: hanukkiyot, the required 8-branched candelabra menorahs, and the candles that go with them. And they're not covered. Markovitch thinks it was a completely lame effort on Ottawa's part to be all multicultural for Hanukkah. Maybe it's because this year the Jewish festival begins on Christmas Day, although the tax break doesn't help people who celebrated Diwali already or who will mark Eid next March. They're out of luck. So we wrote to the CRA and we asked them where they got the Hanukkah bush idea. They told us the question was raised during their department's consultations, and they also sent me their definition of a Hanukkah bush. Quote, "A Hanukkah bush or Hanukkah tree is an ornamental tree used by some in celebrating the holiday season," unquote. And they point out that the tax break applies both to a decorative tabletop Hanukkah bush version and the full-size Hanukkah tree, which they also later quietly added to the GST list. Leah Markovitch joins me now from her store on West 7th and Yukon in Vancouver, where she's decided to stage a Maccabee-style revolt of her own against the tax rules. Welcome to the CJN Daily.
Thank you.
Our listeners on the East Coast may not be familiar, but you are an institution. Your stores or your Solly's Bakery, an institution in Vancouver. Every Hanukkah, you must stock up in advance on merchandise and things. What do you normally sell?
For a bakery, we sell a lot of interesting things. We sell candles, menorahs, pajamas, leggings, socks, puzzles, baking kits for children, a lot of electronic menorahs now, and lots of fun toys and a little bit of everything.
When you heard about the federal government deciding to have a 2-month GST holiday for some holiday festival items, how does this impact you, or what did you think?
I think I let out a big oi. The government often makes changes quickly, as they did daily during COVID. And this just felt like another COVID thing, because we sell food predominantly. We sell deli food and groceries and coffee and all kinds of Jewish baking. But then I started thinking of Hanukkah, like, wait, how are we going to do that? How do I handle the varied items of Hanukkah that we carry?
You do sufganiyot, I imagine.
We do those too. Yeah.
Of course.
So those are baking. Those are GST-free. Phew, that one's easy.
And
6 have always
latkes, what
been
about
GST.
latkes? Latkes not?
Latkes are grocery items. If you buy it in the deli as a prepared meal with applesauce and sour cream, it is normally GST, which we will remove. So that's easy. The packages are out of our grocery section, which is not considered GST eligible. It's confusing. Food is not my biggest problem.
Right. Tell me what. Yeah.
Well, gelt. Gelt is a fruit. It's a candy, so that's, I think, okay. The dreidels that are filled, they are like a toy with candy in it. I guess that's okay. We can take the GST off. We sell socks. So socks are for adults and for children. The children's socks are very small, like the baby socks, but I'm only allowed to take GST off of clothing that's for under 14 years old. So I don't know. What if a 12-year-old's got big feet? So he wears an adult size socks. So do I charge him GST for the menorah socks or not? What do I do with, okay, dreidels? I'm assuming we're all children at heart and play dreidels. So dreidels, no problem. What do I do with menorahs? Menorahs, are they for children or are they for adults? I guess the fancy ones, the fancy ones wouldn't be considered a toy, but the small electronic ones might. I don't know. But I think it's going to be a real pain in the ass for us because people are going to get angry if we don't take it off. We don't know. Like, they wrote very simple rules. I don't sell Hanukkah bushes here. I sell menorahs, dreidels, decorations, etc., etc.
You don't sell Hanukkah bushes. Have you ever sold a Hanukkah bush? Is there a thing? Is a Hanukkah bush? What is a Hanukkah bush?
Hanukkah bush, you know, we'll leave that for someone else to tell you. I don't sell them, never have, never will. So,
But is that anyone ever asked, or people are asking you now?
no, I'm sure there'll be a few jokes tomorrow when my Jewish customers come in. There are a lot of mixed marriages now, so people are celebrating Hanukkah and Christmas together. So they made the Jewish traditions an afterthought. And I'm certain there's someone Jewish or even two Jewish people in the government who could guide them into what we use for Hanukkah and what we don't.
So how does this sit with you when, for example, Christmas trees get, and a Hanukkah bush, whatever that is, or Hanukkah tree gets exempt, but like dreidels, menorahs don't?
Well, I'm taking it off of dreidels. And candles. We never spoke about candles. You know, I just think they're ignorant. I just think they did it in a rush. During times of COVID, we were allowed tables and we weren't allowed tables. And we could have two tables and the tables could be 6 feet apart or not. Here is much the same. I think they did it as a very quick job to make people happy. And I think they're a little bit, dare I say, stupid about, I'm sure there's other religions that are in too, but Hanukkah and Christmas being the most predominant during this season, one would think they get a few facts straight on Hanukkah, like not just Hanukkah bushes.
What would you want them to figure out? That dreidels are part of it and they should be, or menorahs or candles should also be exempt?
If you saw the two things that I posted there, the first sheet said holiday items. And then they elaborated with those silly things. I'm just going to do it all under holiday items. And hopefully I won't get into trouble. If something is really like a fancy thing, maybe I'll charge GST on it, but hell, we're children. All of us are children. We all become children. Even until today, I look for Hanukkah gelt. We light candles. We sing dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. And if that's not childish, what is? So I'm just putting it under holiday items. I'm saying it's a religious item. It's a candle. It's used for religious purposes and by children. And so are the dreidels. That's what I'm going to do.
Are you going to get into tax trouble?
I don't think so. I will charge GST for something that's very overtly adult, like adult socks. But if someone says this is for my teenage son who's got big feet, who's 13 years old, I won't charge GST. Again, the Christians will celebrate their holiday and they'll buy gifts for children and sing their songs and enjoy their Christmas tree. I will do the same in my Jewish tradition with the Judaica products that I have. As a tree is essential for Christmas, a menorah is essential for Jews to light their beautiful candles, and dreidels are all part of the whole tradition. So for me, I don't see I'm doing anything wrong. If a Christmas tree is a very important thing in the Christian tradition, we have our own kind of Christmas tree, if you will. We have a menorah. And so I just figure it's a different shaped Christmas tree. I don't know.
I love
right?
it. I love it. I love it. Look, the GST starts on the weekend. Are you expecting people to buy more now? Have you seen that people are waiting till this GST holiday starts to come in and buy your merchandise? Have you had any impact at all in sort of like the levels
We're-
you
we're
would
a little bit
normally
early.
see?
Yeah, sure. Should we speak in a week? I can tell you more about that. I think all in all, it's going to just be a pain in the butt for us. I had an employee as a child ask me, am I going to have a lot of money taken back or taken off if I buy things for my daughter, if I go to a store? I said, well, it won't be a lot, but it depends on what you buy. She didn't really understand. Just, do I get the money back from the government? But not directly. Anybody's happy to have a buck in their pocket that they wouldn't otherwise have. And I think the biggest influence on Hanukkah this year will be people not having money in their pocket to boot. So we have fancy candles and we have expensive candles. So I'm thinking this year we'll see the cheaper candles go faster than the more expensive candles. I think all in all, Canadian, I don't know if the GST is going to make too much of a difference. Even if I was buying a Hanukkah bush, maybe I'm buying one Hanukkah bush, or one Christmas tree. That'll save a little bit of money. I don't know, all in all, how much will be saved. I just think the government should spend a lot more time working on rent, lowering mortgage rates, lowering cost of food. I think food is too high.
I think
And
a
we're-
lot of
we're
people
players.
agree with you.
Yeah, maybe you save $20 on GST, but it'd be a lot nicer if you could save $300 on rent or something,
Because how
But
many times
that's
are you
just
going to
my-
buy a Christmas tree? I don't even know how much is a Christmas tree or a Hanukkah bush
No
cost.
idea.
Neither do
I don't buy
Our
cut
listeners,
down
I'm going to
trees.
go out this weekend and look and see because I've never bought one. So I want to ask you about this stand because this year Hanukkah, even last year as well, coming after October 7th, as a Jewish store, it's a very important holiday now because it's supposed to show light, show pride in being Jewish, I'm sure you have decorations in the window.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how safe is your store? What experiences have your stores had since October 7th with maybe vandalism? Maybe you can tell us what it's been like.
Well, we had a big string of blue and white lights wrapped around the tree outside our shop, and it was cut into snippets last week and just left little pieces hanging on the ground. So that was really sad. If someone would have wanted to steal it because they didn't have the money for Christmas lights, okay, I can give them a break. But even though that's not good, but literally it was cut in snippets with scissors. So yeah, we felt that. After October 7th, if you want to go back a little
Wait,
bit,
did you
of course,
call the police for that?
I didn't. I didn't call the police because I wasn't in town. But I think the pieces have been kicked all around after it was shown to me after I got back. And listen, over the past year, without getting into detail, I've lost a lot of money for a lot of things that have to do with the Jewish people. But that's not what you're asking me about. I think the fact
Are
that
you
we're-
getting boycotted and things by Palestinian protests and things like that?
I had a tree covered with blue and white lights, and just yesterday, all the lights were cut off in snippets with scissors and left on the ground. I would rather someone steal the lights. No, they just took scissors and cut it in little pieces and left it on the ground. So the police happened to be in my shop the next day when I noticed it and told me I should report it as a hate crime. I know it was a hate crime. If it was a theft that someone didn't have money to pay for lights, that would upset me, but it wouldn't disturb me. So yes, we've had a few things happen this past year because we're very out there Jewish. We're a Jewish business. We don't hide behind anything. We're prominently Jewish in the community, and a lot of people don't like that. We have had a rock thrown through glass window. We don't know today whether, so other windows have had rocks going through, so we don't know if it was a crazy person or something anti-Semitic. We've had our posters torn down a few times.
Like hostage posters, right?
Yeah, we've had our hostage quote. We have them up again, as many as we can find. And we've had graphics in our bathrooms. People are trying to bring our reviews down. 1-star reviews, multiple. So people are doing what they can to disturb me, but I just keep going. How can I hide? It's what I am. And I do like the fact that they did mention, although stupidly on my part, they did allude to the fact that there are Jewish people celebrating a holiday at this time of year. I think they were ignorant about what they wrote, but I'm wondering here whether they didn't say too much so there wouldn't be the protesters. That's sort of an afterthought that they just sort of slid the Jewish tradition in, so they wouldn't get a lot of people saying, why do Jews get something off of theirs? Well, we're a different religion, so why don't we get something off of ours? They slid it in very quietly. Maybe there's a reason they did that.
I mean, Eid isn't until end of March, so this will be gone by then. And Diwali was early October, so it doesn't. And Diwali, where you live, that's a big holiday there.
Very big,
right?
very big.
Asian New Year is usually January, February, so I don't know, but it's not listed. So
Yeah, that's not listed. Interesting. There's going to be lots of questions, but I'm just going to, like I said, as people gather around the Christmas tree, singing their carols and doing, I don't know, I don't sit around a Christmas tree too much, but I've seen enough movies, opening gifts and focusing on the children. I'm just going to read it in that way. And hopefully the government won't give me too hard a time, because what else am I going to do? How do I discriminate between, my children would light our menorah. They would sing the prayers and we'd all sing. So isn't that a holiday? So I have a new name for a hanukkiyot or a Hanukkah menorah, how people call it. It is my Hanukkah menorah bush. And that's what it is. That's the name of it. It's just my Hanukkah bush. And I will call it that and let someone complain to me. I don't know.
you're going to send me a good picture this weekend, okay, of you in the store selling your Hanukkah bushes, menorahs.
We've changed the name now. But they're branches. Okay, my menorah has 8 branches and 1 long branch. I'm sure someone out there, all joking aside, I'm sure you could buy one that has leaves and looks quite organic, like a tree. So
It's great to talk to you, Leah. Thank you so much.
well, a pleasure speaking with you.
Chag Sameach. Good luck. We'll talk after the weekend and see how you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Let us know if you have Hanukkah trees or bushes in your tradition. We try to find anybody who sells them. There are some on Amazon. And a decade ago, an entrepreneur from Toronto named Esther Davidson went on CBC's Dragon's Den and tried to get the tycoons to invest in her Hanukkah bush company, but it didn't go well. I'm told that some interfaith families buy Christmas trees and decorate them for Hanukkah. And Professor Anna Sternsis at the U of T's Jewish Studies program confirmed that some Russian and Eastern European Jews who now live in the diaspora do buy Christmas trees, but not for Christmas. It's for Yolka, a secular holiday they celebrate on New Year's Eve, which is centered around gift-giving and miracles. And that's what Jewish Canada sounds like for this episode of the CJN Daily, made possible in part by the generous support of the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. The podcast is produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman. Our executive producer is Michael Freeman, and our music is by Dov Beck-Levine. Look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for listening.
I'm Michael Weisdorf, Chief Executive Officer with the Canadian Jewish News. We've put a lot of effort into trying to engage with the younger audience and the younger demographic, those who haven't really engaged with the CJN recently. They don't realize we're back. They say, I absolutely remember reading this on my Booby and Zadie's dining room table or my parents' den. We're trying to bring the Canadian Jewish News into the 21st century. The Canadian Jewish News is a not-for-profit organization, and we're also a registered journalism organization with the CRA. So we can provide tax receipts for donations at any level to help support the Canadian Jewish News and help us continue providing free, high-quality journalism for the Jewish community. You can support us at thecjn.ca/donate. Thank you for your support and for being a part of our journey.